How's it going, everybody? Rob here. Today is an absolutely beautiful day because it is PC upgrade day. So I will be upgrading my build here that has kind of been upgraded here and there, but the main components are from 2017 and 2018. So we'll be upgrading the system into the components here. And this was not a planned build. This was not a planned upgrade. It just happened to happen. So I'm going to get into how it happened, why it happened, and why I decided to make the jump and upgrade now. So the components that we are keeping are the case, the cooler, the drives, the fans, and the cable extensions. So this system here is one I've been using, I guess on and off with a few upgrades from 2017, but at the base components of the system is an i7-8700K, Asus Z370E motherboard, RTX 2080 from Zotac, a Noctua NHD15s cooler, 32 gigs of Corsair LPX Vengeance DDR4 running at 3200, some Be Quiet fans across the case, and an EVGA power supply, a 650 watt power supply, which we will upgrade as well. Okay, so now that we disassembled the previous build and the case is emptied and cleaned out, let's go over the parts one more time. Since we have everything laid out here, we can kind of get a better idea of the build that we'll be doing today. So there's still the fans and everything I left inside because I'm not going to reinstall all those for no reason. So the case is pretty much already halfway set up, I guess you could say. So the new system is going to be a Ryzen 9 5950X 16 core 32 thread beast of a CPU. It's going to be able to handle editing, rendering. It's going to be able to handle OBS while I stream, while I record at the same time. So that's going to be really a huge upgrade compared to the 8700K 6-core 12-thread CPU that I was running before. That's going to be going into the Aorus Elite Wi-Fi X570 motherboard here. So Wi-Fi, Bluetooth built in. Not that I really need Wi-Fi, but it's always nice to have on the motherboard directly. The 5950X will be cooled by the best, pretty much, air cooler on the market, the Noctua NHD15s in Chromax Black with an additional fan. So there's going to be 2 fans running on that one. The Seasonic Focus 850 watt fully modular 80 plus platinum power supply. So this is a fantastic power supply. Always go for a good, reputable brand power supply because that's not somewhere where you want to cheap out on your build. We got a couple of M.2s here for about 1 terabyte and a 512 gig. We have 4x8 Corsair Vengeance 3200 DDR4 RAM. We have a Elgato 4K 60 Pro capture card, and the pièce de résistance obviously is the Zotac Trinity RTX 3090, which was not what I expected to get, but pretty much what started this overhaul of the PC. So I'm going to start building the PC, getting the motherboard and everything ready, and kind of talk about what came about and what brought about this upgrade. So fun time, let's get into it. Okay, so let's kind of talk about what brought up this upgrade and why I decided to go all in on the upgrade now instead of waiting a couple of months, since I guess Ryzen 7000 is right around the corner and new GPUs are set to arrive, since the 40 series cards are now rumored to be have some information about. Well, to be honest, I wasn't even really looking to upgrade, but I am somebody who is constantly on the lookout for deals on the secondhand market. So like, you know, like a marketplace, Craigslist, those type of places. And I've had a lot of success in the past. Now, obviously this isn't for everybody because there are potential risks involved when you do this. But just to give you an idea, my previous system that we just took apart, almost every single component was not bought in stores. They were bought off somebody on Marketplace or Craigslist or Kijiji if you're in Canada. So just to give you an idea, in 2017, when the 8700K first came out, when Coffee Lake first came out, I was still on Skylake. So 2 generations prior. But obviously Coffee Lake was really a big innovative thing because it was the first time, because of AMD, Intel was forced to kind of step away from their 4-core, 4-thread thought process and get into something bigger, so 6-core and 12-thread. At the time when it came out, I think that he was going for, I think the CPU, and I'm probably way off, was I think going for around $450 US, like $500-600 Canadian, just the processor, and then add on that new Z370 motherboards. You were looking at just $800 upgrade just for CPU processor, if not more. And what happened was I just happened to stumble upon somebody online that needed to get rid of their recently purchased Z370 Asus board and brand new 8700K, both brand new, still sealed with receipt, but it was just past the 30-day window to bring it back. And he had listed it for both for $500 Canadian. So that's like $350 US for a brand new processor that just came out the top of the line at the time, and a nice ROG board. So I got to talk him down to $450, bought it right away. So 8700K and Z370 motherboard, ROG for $450 Canadian, which is an absolute steal for the fact that it had just launched. And funnily enough, the same thing happened to me this time. So I was actually on Marketplace looking at golf equipment and golf clubs, and this ad just popped up, like kind of like on the For You part of it, right? It just showed up on my front page, and somebody was getting rid of, they had 3 RTX 3090s that they were selling, brand new in box with receipts still sealed. I think they wanted to mine, or they were planning on upgrading their mining system or something, but finally with the price of Ethereum going down, I think I was able to snag a deal because it was outside the 30-day window from return from Amazon, and he actually needed money. So I was able to snag a Zotac Trinity OC 3090 for $1,000 US, $500-600 less than what it was going for in store, and not having to pay taxes. That's a huge discount. So once I got that card, I figured, listen, if I put in my 3090 with an 8700K, huge bottleneck, might as well upgrade. So now that kind of brings me to the CPU, which was a bit more of a difficult decision since the next AM5 platform for Ryzen is right around the corner. Right, there was stuff releasing this week at Computex, and all the information is out there. So one, the 5950X is like top of the line CPU right now, and even though it's at the end of its life cycle, it's still going to be good for a very long time. The other thing, honestly, we know where AM4 is at. It's tried and true. It's gotten all through its hiccups. It works really well, and I know that it's going to be pretty solid for a good amount of years. And yeah, AM5 is right around the corner, and I'm really excited to see what the performance is going to be. And on top of that, guys, there's no such thing as future proofing. Even if you get the best CPU right now, it will not be the best forever. Okay, so now the next day, everything is set up, everything is good to go. So a couple things about the build. First of all, obviously it went super easy. The P500A is a really easy case to build in. It's very spacious and a lot of cable management. So even the back, I was able to cable management, probably the best I've ever done. And one of the reasons for that is I had a lot less cables this time. And what I decided to do for this build is, I don't know if you could tell, the only real RGB component is what's on the graphics card. So I took out all other LED lights that I had, RGB strips, Phanteks neon strips that I had. I wanted to take everything out. I think I'm at the point where I am good with not having RGB big lights all over the place in my PC, on my keyboard, on my mouse. I think that to make RGB really nice, it just has to be something subtle. So like I have one light strip behind the monitor and I have like an LED lamp. I think that's more than enough, and it gives a great ambiance. I don't need to have so much light pollution in my face while I'm gaming or while I'm streaming. I find it really looks nice having a nice, simple, sleek PC setup. Now, one thing I wanted to say about the build is once I put everything together, right, I know we carried over the drives, and we carried over the RAM, CPU cooler, and the case, but it's a new PSU, a new motherboard, a new CPU, and a new graphics card, right? And we went from an Intel-based system to now a Ryzen-based system, and NVIDIA graphics card stays the same. But I was surprised at how it just worked really well. I did not even have to reload a clean install of Windows or re-download any of my apps or programs or games. I literally got into the BIOS, saw everything was working fine. I didn't want to change anything right away. I wanted to keep the base RAM, and I put XMP later on, but I wanted to start just by making sure everything was working. And then when I went to select the boot drive to install Windows, I got like this error message at first, and then I just did save and continue, and off the BIOS it just booted into my drive off my M.2, and just like it did on my previous system, the 8700K. So it just booted up into Windows. I did not have to reinstall anything. All the drivers were up to date. I just had to install a driver for the chipset and the graphics card, but everything else was good to go. I did not have any major issues, which was a real shock. I thought that I was gonna have to do a full clean install of Windows, because I remember having to do one when I went from my Skylake system to Coffee Lake, which was also a new motherboard and a new CPU. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna switch the camera, I'm gonna turn around and get into a couple of games and a couple of benchmark tests, just to see what the PC can do now, and kind of my interpretation of the difference between the 8700K to the 5950X and 2080 to 3090. I'm guessing it's gonna be a fantastic upgrade. Boom! It's me again. So let's start with a Cinebench Run. Let's do that. A little R23, and I'm recording at the same time, so there might be some tiny bit of performance drop off, but I'm still expecting to see something insane. So let's run it on the multi-core, and this is actually going to be a big difference from 6 cores and 12 threads. Wow, look at all those squares. 24,293. Let's run it one more time. Let's keep the CPU going at 100%. Let's see what the temperature is going to get to. So see, we hit 72 now, running it a second time, but still like 70, 68, running at utilization at 100%. 24,200. So pretty consistent. Okay, we're about to finish with the benchmark. We're at scene 25 of 26. And right now we are still at 76. We hit a max 78 degrees, so very good. Minimum FPS of 42, maximum FPS of 350. Don't forget we are at 2560 by 1440 on ultra settings, so very good with that. A score of 3,869. 3440 by 1440. I can't do full screen, it's windowed or borderless, there's no other option. DLSS, yeah, let's leave it off for now just to see what we could get. And then in terms of graphics, we're on ultra, everything high. So let's see what we could get with the 3090 in game. So let's just continue. It's running flawlessly right now on my screen. We are easily at 75, 79 FPS. We are on ultra settings at 3440 by 1440 with no DLSS. So this is just like pure raw gameplay. I would have liked it if it was a fight scene right now, but it's not. But you can still see with the action here. We got some stuff to render with the ultra graphics, and we are at about still in the 80s. We're hitting the 100, so that's pretty good. Settings, graphics, ray tracing, ultra, field of view. Let's make this easily 100. Motion blur, no, off. Everything else high, ultra on, ultra, DLSS off. I really want to see the graphics card basically cripple if possible, as much as we can on this. 3440 by 1440, apply at the bottom right, giving us our FPS. So right now, ray tracing ultra 3440 by 1440 on a 3090, 24 FPS. So basically it's very cinematic right now, right? Because the human eye can't see more than that. So this is like a perfect movie. Ray tracing ultra, the game looks freaking beautiful. Yeah, that's really not good. This is making me sick. I know ray tracing is beautiful and all, but it won't be able to handle ultra settings. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. This was a real quick little test to see what this CPU, GPU can do in a couple of games. I still have a lot of tweaking to do just to make sure I get the optimal settings going and the optimal performance out of the computer. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you stuck around till the end,
Thank you so much, first of all. And if you did enjoy, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing. It is free and it helps me a lot. And I will catch you guys next time. Have a good one.